Snacks meals in the building.
I wasn't even thinking about me being on the show. I wanted to produce something for them.
Cool celebrity. Like if I went to the mall and stuff, people are like, oh.
The thing was, I didn't even know that anybody ever thought I was ugly.
We look like twins almost.
Okay.
She really wouldn't be
covering any more subjects related. So that's why you got the raw reaction. This is pathetic. It's pathetic. All right, guys, welcome back to the Sweet Pea Diaries. It's your girl, Sweet Pea, and we are back with another video. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome back to my channel. And if you are a new subscriber, welcome to the Sweet Pea Diaries. Be sure to like this video, share this video, but most importantly, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Hi, Purple Nemo. Welcome back, Susie Davis Jones. Yep, we are back in full effect. We are back inside of the lawsuit with Kenneth Petty, Nicki Minaj versus Jennifer Hough. There has been another update in this case. This case is update after update. We have been having updates daily. All week, we have been having updates in this case. Yesterday, Tyrone Blackburn, on behalf of Jennifer Hough, asked the judge to reconsider the clerk's denial for Jen's default. Now, Nicki Minaj's attorney has entered a letter defending the clerk's decision and wants the default denial to stand. You heard it. He wants the default denial to stand. And still, as of tonight, as of today, Kenneth Petty still has not responded to the lawsuit. We still do not know who his attorney is, if he's being represented by anyone, what he intends to plead. So let's get into it. All right. So this is the letter entered by Nicki Minaj's attorney. Dear Judge Vitigliano, we represent defendant Onika Tanya Mirage. In the above referenced case, I write in response to plaintiff Jennifer Hough's motion requesting that the clerk's office denial of her application for a certificate of default be withdrawn and request granted. Before turning to the merits of plaintiff's application, I think it is important to note this is a dispute that should never have been brought to the court. A lawyer showing the basic courtesy which members of the bar are expected to show to each other would have not have denied my request, made just 9 days after defendant's purported default for a limited extension of time to answer or move against the amended complaint. The court frowns upon the lack of civility displayed among counsel in this case and wonders in particular why plaintiff's counsel would not extend a fairly common professional courtesy of extending defendant's time to answer. In the absence of a court order, a lawyer should agree to reasonable requests for extensions of time or for waiver of procedural formalities when the legitimate interests of the client will not be adversely affected. Upon request, coupled with the simple representation by counsel that more time is required, the first request for an extension to respond to pleadings ordinarily should be granted as a matter of courtesy. It is also troubling that Mr. Gordon's letter contains a hearsay accusation regarding an alleged conversation between someone in the clerk's office and his co-counsel, Mr. Blackburn. Hold on 1 minute, guys. So they're quoting when Tyrone was talking about in his letter, upon appearing at the clerk's office today, Ms. Huff's counsel, Mr. Blackburn, was advised that the delay in issuing the certificate was caused by understaffing and limited hours in the clerk's office. This is a serious accusation and should have not been made directly by Mr. Blackburn. Turning to the merits in defendant's pending motion, seeking leave to file a late pre-motion conference letter, I had decided not to waste the court's time with a challenge to the inadequacy of plaintiff's application for a default because I believe that it made far more sense to address the substantive issue of whether, if entered, the certificate of default should be vacated. Moreover, it made no sense for me to challenge an expected action by the clerk's office, which had not yet come to pass. However, since the plaintiff has now moved for an order directing the clerk to issue a certificate of default, defendant opposes that motion on the ground that the clerk should have rejected the plaintiff's application for a default for a reason other than the notice of appearance which I filed in the case. Plaintiff's failure to submit an affidavit demonstrating that the pleading to which no response has been made was properly served. Rather, plaintiff's counsel's affirmation in support of plaintiff's application does not even mention service of the summons and complaint, instead only stating that defendant Onika Tanya Mirage has not answered or otherwise moved concerning the complaint. The time for Onika Tanya Mirage to answer or otherwise move has not been extended. Local Civil Rule 55-1 is explicit in its statement of the requirements for securing a certificate of default from the clerk's office. Plaintiff's counsel failed to meet those requirements, and his motion should therefore be denied. So what they're saying is, while plaintiff's counsel may point to the affidavit of service he filed with the court, he should not do so because, as made clear in defendant's declaration submitted in support of her pending motion, the affidavit falsely claims that the process server served defendant's husband. In any event, the affidavit of service is irrelevant because plaintiff's counsel did not incorporate it by reference into his affirmation. refusing to consider documents filed on the court's ECF docket because they had not been incorporated by reference. Further, while the court may take judicial notice of a document filed on ECF, it may not do so for the truth of the matter asserted therein, but only for the fact that the document was filed. So I know that is a lot of mumbo jumbo. I know that is a lot of mumbo jumbo. So basically what they are saying, Nicki Minaj's attorney is saying that Tyrone Blackburn should have allowed them an extension of time in the first place. KK says that lady knows everything that goes on social media, and don't forget she has her minions who send her messages, and some bloggers will update her on everything. But wait, her and Tay watched the real. Okay, so this is basically what they're saying. And this is what Jennifer has to watch out for. This is what Tyrone has to watch out for. Tyrone, he hired that other attorney, which I think is going to be a good thing for them. But Tyrone got to watch out for it. These attorneys are slick. You don't know who they know in that clerk's office. These are Italian judges on the bench in New York. You don't know who that clerk is, and you don't know why he didn't issue that certificate of default. If it had been anyone else, that certificate of default would have been issued the day that Tyrone went down there and applied for it. It would have been issued the same day, the same way they issued the one yesterday for Kenneth Petty. So this is obvious that there are some strings being pulled. Nicki has the money, and that's what you pay high-priced lawyers for. They got connections. They know how to wheel and deal. They know how to get, slither their way through the cracks. But the attorney is making a good point. Nicki Minaj is already disputing if they were served, if they were properly served. She's already saying that the lawyer is, affirming in the pretrial conference letter that Kenny was not served. Nicki Minaj was not served through Kenny because that wasn't Kenny. The mail that they're saying they served, the process server is lying in the first place because there was no one there that fit that description. Even though we know that it is probably 9 times out of 10, it is a lie, but that is what you pay people to do. They have to rely, on technicalities and loopholes. Ridiculous. Also knowing that Nicki's judge has been sued for malpractice. That is exactly, yes, it could be some backdoor deals. It's obvious. How do you go down there and file for a certificate of default for Kenneth Petty? You get it that same day. There are no understaffing issues that same day for him. However, when you went down there for Tyrone Blackburn, Jen was hoping that she would get that default for Nicki. All of a sudden, they couldn't issue it. All of a sudden, it was staffing issues. But when they did Kenny's, it was the same day. So something smells not quite right already. And I can already see where this is going. So this lawyer, Mr. Bernstein, he's attacking Tyrone's credibility. He's attacking Tyrone's character. He's attacking Tyrone in the eyes of the judge by trying to make him look like he doesn't want to play fair. He's only trying to be particularly hard on Nicki because she's a celebrity and they don't want their client to lose. So they're trying to play hardball when usually attorneys work things together behind the scenes. They're like, if this had been anyone else, usually we would have worked together. But I don't understand why they would expect that to be the case. They are bitter enemies. Jen wants to win. She don't want to work no backdoor deals with Nicki Minaj's lawyers. She wants everything to go by the book. She's trying to do everything according to the law. And they're going to wiggle their way around it because that is what high-priced lawyers do. They look for loopholes. They look for flaws in the law to get people off all the time. That's just what they do. And it's going to be heartbreaking to watch this go down because we see Nicki and Kenny's activities on social media. Do you know how many people have been harassed and intimidated by Nicki Minaj over the course of years during her career as an artist? Do you know how many people have cut her off and refused to work with her, refused to be seen in her company? There are a lot of people that are intimidated and afraid of Nicki Minaj. There are a lot of people. We've watched Nicki Minaj and Kenny on lives with Kenny with a sawed-off shotgun or sawed-off revolver in his pocket. We've seen him on live with weapons in his pocket. We've seen them refer to themselves as goons. We've seen them perpetuate violence. We've seen them boast and brag and push forth an image of violence and that they're gang members and gang affiliates. And it's hard to believe that Jen was being harassed. That's the part that I'm not understanding, where people don't believe that she could have been harassed by Nicki Minaj and Kenneth Petty. They online with guns. He has a damn gun in his pocket. DJ Academic said he was threatened by Nicki Minaj. Cash Doll threatened by the Barbs and Nicki Minaj. There have been multiple people threatened by Nicki Minaj. She harassed that woman over there in Trinidad. She put the woman's number on the goddamn screen. Charlene, what was her name? Charlene Rapper said. And let's not forget the DJ self-threats. She has threatened a lot of people, and a lot of people have come out. We've been watching her lately go on rants and rampages and threaten people. Joy Reid, look how she handled that situation. But people will equate that as her being, that's just Nicki's persona because she's a gangster rapper. She's a gangster, woman rapper. That's just Nicki. But if she can exemplify that type of behavior on social media, what do you think she can do behind the scenes? Exactly, KK. And let's not forget Redbone, Kenny's ex. And let's not forget the other night, we listened to Tasha K say this. Remember this? Remember this?
Nobody cares. Not even. I'm just saying, like, who Nicki Minaj ain't got time to be sitting up, contracting out no stories to see how she can prove somebody is a liar. Nicki Minaj would send some niggas after a bitch. That's what she would do. Okay? Hold on for a second. Tasha, at this point, nobody cares. Not even. I'm just saying, like, who Nicki Minaj ain't got time to be sitting up, contracting out no stories to see how she can prove somebody is a liar. Nicki Minaj would send some niggas after a bitch. That's what she would do.
Now, how do Tasha know that? How do Tasha know that Nicki Minaj ain't got no time to be sitting up conjuring no stories? She will send some niggas after a bitch. That's exactly what she would do. That's exactly what they did to Redbone and beat that girl within inches of her life because he didn't want rumors to come out of what he said, that he was just using Nicki for a bag, which we all know he's just using Nicki for a bag. This is going to be nasty. It's going to play out in front of the public, but it's going to be nasty. The tactics are going to be underhanded. But this is what Jennifer signed up for when she decided to go forward with this lawsuit. She had to know that it was going to be difficult, that it was going to be hard. This is not going to be easy. This is not going to be a slam dunk case for Jennifer. This doesn't by any means undermine her statements, undermine her story, undermine her experience. We stand with that. But going after a celebrity with the money and the prestige and power and fame, such as Nicki Minaj, she's aligned herself with powerful people. She has powerful people in powerful places, in powerful positions. And when you got that kind of money, you can get paid. You can be put in contact with people that can make things happen in a court of law. Judges, lawyers, DAs. You can absolutely get there. Look at the clerk. Why is it that her default, the certificate of default, was not entered? For anyone else, it would have been done. For Kenneth Petty, it was done. Nicki has no problem with going head forward and handling her defense. She has no problem with it. Kenny, he's always absconded from justice. He's always gotten himself into trouble, take plea deals, be in and out of trouble. She don't care whether he has an attorney and defends himself or not. I told you that it was brilliant on the part of the attorney to separate Kenny from Nicki. But yep, so Jennifer, she's got a long road up ahead. Hello, Tori Williams. Hey, Bodacious Lady. Hey, Jerica James. KK, Alice. Everyone is back. I see you guys. But we knew that this is going to be an uphill battle for Jen. We knew this. We knew that we were going to be here. We did not expect Jen to win by default. And I told you guys that it wouldn't have just been wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, boom, she wins $20 million. It would, that certificate of defaults don't work like that anyway. But we knew that she wasn't going to win that. I called it. I already said she wasn't going to win it. Just because we read it and we had put forth the documents and we were the first to report on it when it first happened, when she asked to win by default, we knew that she wasn't going to win. We already said that over here. We don't, even though we err on the side of the victims. Hey, Danielle TV. Hey, Danielle Speaks TV. Even though we always want to try to err on the side of the victim and support the victim and stand with the victim, we still got to have common goddamn sense. We still got to call a thing a thing. We knew goddamn good and well they were not going to give Jen no $20 million right off the bat. Boom, here you go. We knew goddamn good and well that Nicki Minaj was going to answer to that lawsuit. We knew that she was going to have some type of defense and pull out all the stops. We knew that was going to happen. We knew that. But when we ride for victims and when we stand with people, we still got to have common sense. Because when, the roof blows off the top of the car, we got to be there to put the roof back on. We got to be there to hold the victim down. When the shit hits the fan, we got to still be here to pick up the pieces for Jen or all other victims. If she should not be triumphant in this lawsuit, we still got to be here in support. The same way we ride on with these videos, the same way we standing in the gap for Jen and praying and hoping that she's victorious. If it doesn't work out like that, we still got to remain firm and stand strong for her and still be a support mechanism for her. Because at the end of the day, this is not about bashing either side. That's what all parties involved, they have to understand. The other bloggers, the other channels that report on this story as well. This is not about attacking one another. This is about justice. This is about a woman getting justice because she has been harassed for a criminal, for someone that was supposed to be registering as a sex offender, being accountable, being held accountable for his crimes. But we watch these two in the press, these Bonnie and Clyde mentality grown adults that act like children when they don't get their way, and when people don't see their narrative, they want to cuss them out, threaten their lives, send these deranged fucking fans after everyone because people could see the writing on the wall. So if this should not be victorious for Jen and she should not be successful, we still have to be, standing 10 toes down. We got to stand 10 toes down in support. So this is not a tit for tat. This is not this is a lawsuit. This is a legal situation. It is in the courts and it's got to go through the courts. It's got to play out now. We got to watch this thing play out. We knew she wasn't going to just win no goddamn $20 million. Where the hell they do that at? That was not going to go. It was not going to go down like that. Nicki Minaj is a celebrity. Now, had it been anybody else that ain't got no goddamn money, Jen was not standing to gain anything significant, she might have got the damn default. Look how she got the default for Kenny. But see, Kenny didn't answer to his. He didn't answer to the lawsuit. This is all strategic. They're living in the same home. Kenny is on the social media with Nicki. They're with the baby all the time. Do you really think that they're not being advised by the attorney what to do? Kenny doesn't have any money. There's nothing that she stands to gain. He's already been convicted for the rape. He cannot be convicted again for the rape. He can only be held accountable for harassment. He cannot be held accountable for the rape. He's already been convicted and did time over that. So they're doing things strategically. Now they're using the rape and they're referring to the rape and they have that listed and detailed in the lawsuit. But Kenny got other shit and other fish to fry. He pled guilty to not registering as a sex offender. And when you are on parole and you still got time left on your parole and you violate that parole, you got to go back to jail and finish out the rest of your sentence. So if Kenny still has time left on that, that's probably why they don't really care about him answering to the lawsuit. They've already taken the plea deal for him not registering. Kenny and Nicki probably already know what he's going to get. And you know what? Let's just make a bold statement. Let's just make a projection. I'm gonna project and declare that Kenny already knows what time he's getting for not registering as a sex offender. Kenny and Nicki, they already know, which is why they don't care whether he answers this complaint or not. Kenny is probably getting very close to going to jail. He's probably getting close to going away. So now it would all make sense as to why he's not responding, why he's not answering, because he's going to jail anyway. Nicki already answered by responding. Nicki is not Kenny. They are both defendants in the case. So they both have to respond to the summons. They both have a summons. They were issued 2 summons, one for him and one for her, which she's technically saying that she never got. She's trying, and which is what her lawyer is saying in this letter. You can't grant Jen the default because technically my client is saying that she wasn't even served. I think so, Jerica. I think so too. I believe that she already knows, Nicki and Kenny, they already know what he's getting for the not registering as a sex offender. He took a plea deal, which is why Kenny takes plea deals. He takes plea deals because they come with lesser time. Now, when you are on parole, you got to automatically, and you have another charge, you got to go back to jail and you got to finish out that time automatically. It's a violation and you go back. There is no cutting a deal. You go back. But because he's with, Nicki Minaj, he got a little bit of money. He probably was able to go before, with his lawyer. They worked out a deal with the DA. He had a little bit of change with this new lawyer, worked out a deal with the DA in California. And now they gave him a little plea deal. He going to go and do some time, which is why he's not responding to this lawsuit, because he's going to be in jail. He's going to be in jail anyway. So Jen is not going to get a dime out of Kenneth Petty. She's not going to get any money out of Kenneth Petty because he is not answering to the lawsuit. He's going to be in jail. There's no money to gain out of him. And Nicki Minaj is going to use her lawyer to wiggle her way out of the lawsuit, finding loopholes. I'm just going to go ahead and call it. I don't see Jen winning this now that I've put it into perspective. I don't see her winning against Nicki Minaj alone because the charges are less, profound with Kenny out of the picture. With Kenny in the picture, you're focusing on the rape. You see where I'm going? Y'all see where I'm going? If they would have left Kenny and Nicki together on that paperwork, that's why the lawyers separated them. That's why the lawyers separated them. If they had left Kenny and Nicki together on that paperwork and tried them both together, had them both represented by the same attorney, and tried them together the way Tyrone Blackburn was headed, it would have looked much worse. It would have looked just how it is, that they were intimidating her because they wanted her to recant her story. It would have looked like that. That is their tactic. That's why they don't have Kenny responding. They took, him away from Nicki and just has her with her own attorney. He is defending her. But she is the one who violated the restraining order and contacted Jen. What I'm saying is that does not matter. None of this, what you guys are saying, matters. Do you not see Nicki Minaj is being represented by her attorney? Kenneth Petty has not answered to the lawsuit. They are separating Nicki from Kenneth Petty in an attempt to make the charges look less profound. Because when you put Kenny in the equation, now you're talking about the rape, which is why you notice Nicki's lawyer was saying, when this occurred, my client was only 12. My client was nowhere around when the rape occurred. So that's their whole strategy, is to remove Nicki from the rape. Because if they remove her from that, it doesn't look as bad. If you put Kenny and Nicki together and you got all that going on in that lawsuit with all those statements and the description of how it happened, then it looks like absolutely what we see. You see that? We can see it. You put them both together, you know that they were threatening her because they want her to recant. I don't know whether they're married or not. I have not seen any one of their marriage certificates. I'm not them. I don't know. And I don't call out people's business. I've never seen it. So I can't say whether they are or they're not. I'm not here to, speculate any of that. It's a rumor that they're not. People are saying that they're not even really married. But that doesn't have nothing to do with that. Them being married, you guys gotta, when we deal with lawsuits and we deal with legal paperwork, you can't go off on a tangent and start thinking about this thing and that thing. Well, what about this? You got to stick to the paperwork because that's how they fight it in court. They stick to the law and paperwork. You feel me? That's how they're able to find loopholes, by scouring over that goddamn paperwork and reading through it. And then they say, bingo, right here. We're going to go through this door right here. And what the lawyer did, what Nikki's lawyer did, he sat there and said, you know what? Bingo, we're going to go through this door right here. We're going to separate you from Kenny. We are not going to have you and Kenny have the same lawyer. You're going to have your own lawyer, and I'm going to represent you on your charges, because Nikki and Kenny are not being charged with the same charges. You got to go back and watch the other videos, the way we read the documents and broke them apart. Nikki and Kenny are not being charged with the same charges. Right. And the way they're moving with this case, that kind of speaks volumes, that they just might not be married, which is why she's being represented by herself, because that's not her husband. It could be that. But we can't say what it could, shoulda, woulda, coulda. We cannot do that. That's speculating. We can't speculate. No, common law, they have rules around common law. It has to be a certain amount of years for common law. None of that. No. Mm-mm. When you are dealing with a lawsuit, you got to deal with what's on the paperwork. You can't, this is not, I keep telling y'all, it's not a TV show. It's not the way you see it play out on TV. The way you see things play out in TV and the way it's played out in court, two different things. So you remember I told you here, okay? I done called it now. I'm telling you, I'm not stupid and I'm not dumb. I know I've been reading court documents for almost a year and a half now, fucking around with Tasha K. And I'm starting to really understand the lingo and the motions and when certain things are filed and why certain things are filed. But none of us know what none of us know what evidence any of them have. We are actually right. Exactly, Jerica. We don't know any evidence because we are not at the discovery phase yet. When we get to the discovery phase, we will have evidence. But all I'm saying is Nicki Minaj is not being charged with the same things as Kenny. So when you go back to the other video that we did breaking down the lawsuit and breaking down the complaint, each of them are charged with different charges. So this is why I'm saying they are separating Nicki away from Kenny, because Kenny's charges are different in the lawsuit than Nicki's are. Okay. And if I keep saying this over and over, it's going to start sounding tongue-tied. So let's just stick to what we see, stick to what we know, and we're just going to follow it as it continues to, unfold. I'm pretty sure it's going to be up and down. It's going to take us on a lot of emotional roller coasters, but we got to stay composed, guys. We got to stay strong. We got to hang in there for Jen. We got to hang in there for the victim, and we got to stay strong, and we can't waver. It's true, but we got to also be common sense folks. Okay. We can't, just because we like Jen and we stand for Jen, we still got to be logical, and we still got to have reason. We can't just be so gung-ho for someone that we windmill. We can't just be windmilling just because we like somebody. You gotta see shit for what it really is too now. Jen actually was signed on to go to trial, not no default of judgment. This just fell in their laps because Nicki was high. Right. But like I said, separating Kenny from Nicki, it's a strategy. Kenny ass is going to jail. He's going to jail. He's going to jail for not registering as a sex offender. And they know that. So that's why he didn't respond, because he's going to jail. He's going to be locked up. So we'll watch how this plays out, but I can almost guarantee that's how it's going to go. I can almost guarantee, I'm willing to bet $100 on that. He's going to jail. They already know what he's getting, which is why he ain't respond. He going to jail. And they already know. They already know what it's given. Don't think they don't know. You think she's sitting over there with all that motherfucking money? Yup. And we broke that down. We broke that down because remember, she said that they weren't served, but she said on about September 22nd, after she found out about the complaint, she sought counsel. Well, I thought you didn't know about the complaint. How did you seek counsel on September 22nd? Because they served your ass on September 15th. That's why. So we know it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. We all know this. We all know this about court and court cases. It's not what you know, it's what you can prove. And if they can't prove that certain things took place, that's the loopholes. That's what you pay that high price money for. People that got money, they wriggle their way out of shit. They buy their way out of shit. They slick their way out of shit. You think they care whether it's right or wrong? You think they care whether they're upholding the law, whether they're doing things the right way? No, they don't give a fuck. Money talks, bullshit walk. As long as I get my way, I paid to get my way, I expect to get my way. He's going to jail. He's going to jail because of her doing. She created, yep. But the thing about it is, all he had to do and all they had to do was just leave the woman alone. And if it was about money, when people say it was about money, a lot of the other people that are on the side of Nicki Minaj, they say that it was about money, that Jen wants money. Well, Jen is alleging that they offered her $500,000. First it was $20,000, then it was $500,000 through her family. If she wanted money, you think she wouldn't have took $500,000? That's $500,000. Why wouldn't she have taken $500,000? If she wanted money, she would be like, oh yeah, shit. Let me sign that paper right now. Let me sign that paper right now. And then the narrative is, oh, well, her family told her she can go to court and possibly get more money. Why would you go on a possible? Why would you go on a possible? You gonna let $500,000 walk out the door? If you were about money, you would have took that $500,000. That's almost $1 million. So all I have to say is we are a long way away from the discovery phase. When the discovery phase comes, then we will get to see the evidence. We'll get to see what they have, both sides has as evidence. But what I really think that Kenny is going to jail, which is why Kenny did not answer to the lawsuit. He's going to do the rest of his time that's on his sentence. But whatever the plea deal is he took is probably not the whole 10 years or whatever that larger chunk of time is. It's probably going to be cut in half, 4 or 5 years, something like that. But I believe that they already know, and they already know when he's going, which is why they didn't answer. He didn't answer. So that's just my thoughts on that. All right. So as this case continues to unfold, you guys, we'll continue to have commentary on it. We will continue to break down the courtroom documents as things unfold in the courts. So we got to stand, we taking a stance that we're standing for the victim is true. But at the same time, we got to have our eyes open, guys, and we got to see the writing on the wall. Got to see the writing on the wall. Let me tell you what this was about. Nicki has an image to retain. So Kenny being her husband, manager, that him being a right. I said that yesterday. Like, he wants to be able to travel and go places with her and all of these things. So if he was on the sex offender registry, I'm pretty sure there's places that she has to go and business meetings and things that she has to do. And him being a sex offender hinders him from being able to do that. So she should have never married a sex offender. Okay? Should have never married him. Or kept him as your boyfriend or whatever. But if y'all saying that maybe they're not married, so it's just, he just wants to be around her. He wants to be able to go the places that she goes. He feels as though he's entitled to be in the same places that she is. And that's just what it's giving. Oh, my wife and my girlfriend is a celebrity. I need to be in those same spaces. And it's like, no, sir. She's Nicki Minaj. She's the celebrity. Your life was already ruined before you got with her. That was the road you chose to take. Now that you're with a celebrity that has to be places and sex offenders can't be in those spaces, aka Met Gala, okay, aka Met Gala. That's a whole charitable event. You can't have a sex offender with you at the Met Gala. Y'all gotta start thinking. Gotta start thinking. All right. So this has been another edition of the Sweet Pea Diaries. It's 1 a.m. I'm going to bed. I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. I'll catch you on the next video. Bye.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boy. Check the mic, make sure it sound right, boy.